for coming. I see a lot of new people here tonight, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Bunch of changes going along nationally. I don't know if you've seen my newsletter. But you know, with all the changes coming, the bottom line is everybody's got the same desires, and we have a lot more in common than we do difference. So, so this year, let's all try to work together and make our community as strong as we can, and like make some good positive change for the community. With all that being said, I like to start off our meetings with pledging allegiance. So if we could all rise. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, so we got a ton of presenters here today. We got a ton of representatives. So I'm gonna get right to it. We got a really special presentation at the end, probably about 7:30 or so, on the history of Serra Mesa. Hopefully everybody stays around for that. So I'm gonna kick it off with our good friend, Officer Salvatore.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Thank you. And good evening, everybody. Happy New Year for those I haven't seen. I've seen a few you here and there. Thank you. It's old anyways.
Hopefully not getting less.
Well, we'll see. So I went back a few months, obviously. I haven't seen you guys in a few, like I said, here and there. I have other neighborhood watch programs, so I recognize a couple of you through those other programs. But it's always good to see you guys. Now we can get started. Unless you get Ryan. All right, so once again, like I said, I always go over all the numbers, crime stats. I actually have a bunch of them. So what I'm gonna just do, I'm gonna go to the ones that actually probably pertain to you guys more than anything. You guys don't need to know necessarily about arrests. I mean, you guys probably need to, but these are not arrests that affect the community in itself. These are just from traffic stops that officers have done, from DUIs, to some of the businesses that well, for those of you know that the new prop just changed, so they've made changes to Prop 47. So now we're able to actually arrest people for just your simple petty thefts. Before, if you guys recall, it was just a signed ticket, and hopefully I see you guys in 6 weeks. Well, now it's changed to where if they've been arrested twice before for just petty theft, regardless of the price amount, we can arrest them the third time. So that's a big change. We've already seen the effect anyways on our end, because now we're actually able to take people to jail. So for us, it's a big thing. Well, that's you guys. You guys are the ones that finally made those changes by voting for it. So thank you guys on that end. And we won't know the overall numbers until, like, I don't know, several months before they gather it all together. But I know just on our end, from what I hear our patrol officers talking about, they're making arrests, which huge difference obviously for us and for the local businesses. So once again, I'll just go real quick for you guys. We had 18 reported car thefts. That is kind of a significant amount from the last time I believe I was here. I think last time you guys only had like 11. So we had 7 more cars reported stolen. I don't have a breakdown what models they were though. I know for a while it was Hyundai Sonatas. And I have a feeling it's the same, because even though Hyundai made changes to the way their car, I guess there was some hack that came out on either YouTube or Snapchat, one of those, right? This kid went out there like, oh, this is how you're able to steal a Hyundai real easy from a certain time, from a year model to this year model. And of course, he posted it on social media. So lo and behold, we were getting Hyundai stolen left and right. And I know Honda made a change to it, but it's still up to the person to take the car in to get that change made. So if they haven't, which is probably me, because I have a 2011 Hyundai, so I probably should go. I'll probably go bigger. There you go, right? I'm not even taking my own advice. But anyways, I think you could take it to Honda and get it changed. So anyways, we have had 8 stolen cars, significantly increased. We had 3 stolen vehicles in the neighborhood. Now it doesn't show me whether those 3 stolen vehicles were part of the 18 that were stolen. That's the only, it doesn't give you that kind of breakdown, unfortunately. We had 14 cars that were tampered with. Once again, it's vehicles that are left unlocked and people leave their valuables out, you know. So some of these numbers do cover Christmas time frame. So I know we had quite a few where people left their Christmas presents. in plain sight in the car, and then they didn't even lock the doors. So someone just opened the car, got in, helped themselves out to whatever, Christmas. So we had quite a few of those during the December timeframe. The sad part is, we had 9 overdose calls during over the holidays, which is obviously when, it's always obviously, it's just, as joyous as that time frame is, it's also very sad for those that might not have an outreach or people to get in contact with. So we do always see an increase around December timeframe of overdoses, whether they're intentional or unintentional, but it's usually intentional, unfortunately. We have had 14 fires throughout. So I included some of the ones that were kind of outside of Serra Mesa, to include kind of Eastern Division. So it's just here in Eastern, in the last 2 months, we've had 14 reported. So we had 3 by the fuel farm. I don't know if you guys were familiar, about two weeks ago. We had just 2 on right off Mission Gorge. Last week, myself and my partner Robert, the other CRO, were actually about 2 blocks away from one just got started. We were able to get there and we actually arrested the female, one of the females that started the fire. We were just fortunate because as soon as we got there, people were like, there she goes, and we were able to go get her, and sure enough, she started the fire. But we've had an increase in fires throughout just San Diego County in general. Yes.
So are all the fires, were they started by somebody or?
I know there was the one off of Friars over there by off of Mission Valley. There was a question of whether it was a power line that might start or a transformer box, but they don't know if somebody started the fire and caused the transformer box to explode. Because there's been different witness statements saying that that the fire was already before the transformer box exploded. So we don't have that information yet. I'm hoping to get it too, because even though it was in Western Division, it's just so close by here that I'm trying to find out myself. And yes, most of the fires, I don't know about the one in way down in Otay Mesa, but the ones we've had locally have been started by people, unfortunately. So that's like I said, we had a huge increase in fires here lately. We've had 33 accidents in the last 2 months, give or take. Most of them happened during the holiday season too. Not sure why. We had 21 hit and runs. So if your car was hit, apologize, because nobody obviously left a note saying that they hit your car. We had 19 assaults during the holiday season. I'm hoping to say that's good, because it wasn't, somebody wasn't actually hurt. It was just family fights. It started in Thanksgiving, and they continued on through Christmas time. So family members settling their differences during get-togethers. But most of our fights were family members, unfortunately. We had a couple of indecent exposures around here. Only one was the other one was just a reporting, but it was just unfortunately, it was a transient that was passed out with their pants down. That's technically not a decent exposure. But the other one, the person left. It was just a report that was taken. That one was apparently sounded a little bit more serious. The person was doing something of some sexual nature, but they left when officers arrived. So we don't know who it was. They don't know, they had never seen that person. And it was just, but it was also just one person that called. So sometimes those are difficult because there's no other witnesses, but we'll still take a report just in case it did happen. We had 187 calls for disturbances. So that's just basically somebody calling in saying, hey, something's going on out here. Can you guys come out here? Okay, that's 187. It's quite a bit because officers have to respond to each one of those calls. So it's like, but I still want you guys to call because it still paints a picture of what's going on. Certain areas get a little bit more hotter than others. So we want to make sure that just because you don't think it's necessarily serious, even if you just call it in, it still creates an event number for us. And that kind of lets us know where to start trying to control areas a little bit more, especially if it's an increase in certain neighborhoods. Speaking of those 187 calls for disturbances, we actually had 37 additional calls of disturbance involving violence. So this is, like I said, it's during the holiday season too. So we don't know if it was family related necessarily, or if it was friends, it doesn't differentiate that on the calls itself. So like I said, this all happened during the holiday season, and we did have an increase in, unfortunately, family members and whatnot fighting. We had 5 burglaries of residential neighborhoods, and it wasn't just necessarily here in Serra Mesa, or sorry, it wasn't necessarily homes, it was vehicles. People got the cars broken into, once again, they had gifts, and people broke the window, and that counts as a burglary for us. Because it was a locked car and somebody broke the window to get in, that's for us considered a burglary. We took also 26 reports of burglaries. So those 5 that I told you about, if somebody was seeing it just happened and officers arrived shortly on it. But we also had an additional 26 that people realized that later on during the day or sometime later on of reports that we took, which like I said, it all has to do with, you know, Christmas time frame. It was just a lot of things that were stolen during that time. And we had a huge increase, obviously, during those times at our local stores. The only one out here that affects you guys, because you guys, I don't consider you guys part of Mission Valley, the mall area there, but we do have the Walmart down the street right here. They get hit pretty good. So we had a huge increase down there for both petty theft and grand thefts at Walmart. And that's something we're always trying to work with them. I wish there was a representative here at Walmart, because they can give you a better idea. So we'll take some of the reports from them, but those are only the ones that they want us to take. Believe it or not, they'll have like up to 30 sometimes thefts in a day, and they might only require us to take maybe 1 or 2 of them. Because some of them are only like $50, $60, and they just consider it a loss, and they don't even bother reporting it with us. So we really have no idea what the actual number is, but that's how they have their policy set. I mean, it is what it is, you know, that's how they have it set. We had 27 calls of trespassing, which is a little bit odd. Usually we don't. Usually we get, you know, 3, 4, 5, maybe at best in a month. So for us to have 27 in about a 2-month time frame was a little bit odd. We don't know if it was necessarily associated with either unhoused or homeless folks, or just people looking around, because once again, holiday season. So we don't know if people were just coming around trying to search places to steal and whatnot, but we did have a lot of trespassing calls.
I'm sorry, what terms is that you're saying? Trash?
Trespassing.
Trash?
No, trespassing.
Trespassing, sorry.
Trespassing. That's okay. Trespassing, we had 86 calls of check the welfare. So I don't know if you guys know, so this is when and most of these were from out of state. So people are calling in because they haven't heard from loved ones for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. And like I said, holiday season, so a lot of people start getting worried when they haven't heard from the relatives. So we got sent on a lot of check the welfares. We also had quite a few from folks that were passed out in parks and the streets. Obviously, you guys see some of our folks that are sleeping on the street. And what happens sometimes, people don't know if they're sleeping or not. Especially right now with as cold as it's been at night, people have been calling in the mornings because they see people out there and they don't want to themselves go and check. So we'll go out there right now in the morning and we'll just make sure that they're alive, obviously. And if they need to, we'll call an ambulance for them. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 like that, where we just felt from hypothermia possible, and we just rather be safe than sorry. So if you guys see that, please continue to call. We'd rather be on the safe side than find out the person really needed us, whether they're sleeping or not. Just better safe than sorry. And other than that, I do have other calls, but they don't necessarily, I don't go over those because those are like domestic violence calls, suicide ideation calls, any mental illness type things. I don't necessarily go over them, just unless I feel that it's going to be some kind of danger to the public in itself. So I don't go over those. Other than that, that's it. Do you guys have any questions for me? Yes.
Were there any arrests in regards to the word burglaries?
I'd have to check on that. I honestly don't know on that. Because once a report is taken, obviously it's passed on to our detectives and they do their little follow-up. I know they put bolos, be on the lookout, things of that nature, but I honestly don't have the numbers, but I can get them for you though. I really can. Yes.
I didn't hear the vehicle accident on Were they on Mission Village in Rhonda?
So you'd be surprised, so they were, Murphy Canyon, quite a few on Murphy Canyon, especially coming out of Walmart. A lot of the increases happened during the holiday season when everybody's shopping. So we had a lot of fender benders, I can only tell you about CMB, and Convoy, all these areas, those are constantly, and these are only ones that were reported to because there might have been an injury. There was several more that we don't, if it's a non-injured report, we don't go to those. And we don't even find out about it. So trust me, there was way more accidents than this. These are just the ones we responded to and we took a report for just in case. Because sometimes we don't know if there's an injury or not. So the city we'll just take a report just to be on the safe side. Because sometimes people will come back and say, you know, hey, I was injured over here, and at least we have some kind of record of it. But yeah, only if it's a reported accident or a reported injury, or if city property was damaged in any way, shape, or form.
I think there was a significant accident there on Mission Village in Rhonda. With the motorcycle.
Yeah, I can look that up, but
I mean, just any ideas on how to like remedy the situation.
it's part of that is like it depends on the season too, right? Well, motorcycles are always. Those always, now are you concerned about that specific area or just that particular accident in
That
itself?
area.
There's a lot of residents
Yeah,
that
community.
talk about it.
So if on something like that, when if I find out anything like that, I always divert it to our traffic division. Because they're the ones who deal with anything that involves traffic like that. And if they have to go out there, sometimes they'll go out there and actually do a study of the area. Obviously, that's why you see these little strips that they put in the street. They want to see how many cars come and go, track the speed out there. And then if they need to make changes to it, whether are lovable speed bumps that you get put in neighborhoods sometimes, or even speed trailers. I know one of my neighbors, we're trying to get a speed trailer put in the neighborhood over there, just for, trying to get traffic under control, things of that nature. But yeah, reach out.
When it comes to
Yes.
questions and all that, my big question for you this year is, did you get budget for more business cards?
So it's funny that you should add that, because I actually do,
It's like.
Oh, man, yeah, I think last I get 3.
I've got it too.
Oh, man.
So I've actually had, so
Take
this
your cell
month.
phones out and take pictures.
I had a lot, I did have a lot, but this month I've had all my meetings that I've gone to during like around November, December got canceled because holidays and all that. So now this month, you guys are already towards the end, unfortunately. So I did have like 100 of them.
Oh,
And now I'm down to those.
Officer sounds really good at getting back to you, so obviously, best thing to do is put in a ticket, with the, get it done, get it done. If you need to follow up beyond to get it done at, reach out to Officer Sal. It's, his information should be on the sheet, I think, his email address.
Well, if not, like I said, I'll leave my card here, just take a picture with your
Take a
phone.
picture.
Send me emails.
So
Yeah.
if anybody needs.
Yeah.
a picture.
I do have a
Or contact me.
I do have a phone number on there, but it's on my desk, and most of the time I am running around, so I rarely get to my desk, so please just send me an email and I can get back to you that way. Yes,
In regards to the question about Wanda and Mission Village,
Yes.
if you could mention that to your traffic.
okay.
police. Since they put in the bike lane now, the 2 lanes are down to 1.
Oh.
That's a very busy corner for people to pull out, and now that they don't have the second lane, they're cutting to get in line. It's really got
Okay,
dangerous.
I see what you're
If they
saying.
could take a look, I heard there was a bicycle accident, maybe the motorcycle is the second one, but it's pretty scary on that corner.
Okay.
It's Rhonda and Mission Village. And this is a thank you for you.
Oh,
It's a Chinese lunar good luck envelope. I
Oh.
figured you could use it. It gives you good luck the whole coming year.
oh, thanks.
This is Chinese New Year's Eve or Lunar New Year now. It covers all of Asia. It's a 12-day celebration starting tomorrow's New Year's Day.
Yes, yes.
And it ends in 12 days, which is the Festival of the Lanterns. And legend has it, if you get one of those, you have good luck the whole next year.
Oh,
And we
thank
thank
you
you
very
for
much.
coming to our meeting. I'm Judy, one of the board members.
Oh, thank you very much. And it's the year of the snake, right? If I'm not-
Yes, the wooden snake though, not the ugly snake.
Oh, Roger that.
Thanks so much for coming.
Of course.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate you coming and answering our questions.
Folks, please.
Please feel free to reach
Picture,
out.
email, send me emails. That it? Oh, continue.
Thanks for the. All right, folks, good luck. Okay, next on our agenda, we're gonna give you a quick update. Can I do this one real quick? Quick update from the Mission Valley project. Gene? Okay, I think I called her off guard.
Okay, I have several very quick items. The first one is for Zena. Can she see me?
Yes.
Okay, Zena is our head librarian. She is absolutely wonderful. And she was to be with us tonight for some treats from us to say thank you. She popped her head in at our board meeting last week with the Serra Mesa Council and let us know that she's leaving, going to the Central Library downtown. So we will miss her. She has been very instrumental in doing wonderful things for the community, including last Saturday's Lunar Festival party, where she had the most gorgeous lion dancers. Hey, Zena. Can you hear us?
Hello. Hello. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Yes, yes. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I had to go to Pacific Highlands Library to cover my colleague shift for the night to keep the library open. See what we do, but we love
Well, we have some
every.
goodies for you that I'll leave at the desk and get it tomorrow. I don't know if she can hear me. Can you
Yes,
hear
thank
us?
you. Yes, I heard that you
We have
left
some
something
goodies
on my
for you.
desk.
We'll leave at the desk.
Thank you so
We
much,
have some gifts for
everyone.
you to say thank you. We'll leave it at
It's a bit of a delay.
Oh, I see.
The
Yeah,
internet here is really bad.
Anyway, these are for you to say thank you from the council and all the good things you've done for us. We're
thank
gonna miss
you.
you.
Yeah, I will miss you too, and I will be stopping by and see maybe I can attend some of your meeting just to say hello. And thank you everyone for your support and kindness and everything, really the support I get from you all. And like I said, it's not a goodbye. We'll see each other again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so real quick, I'm Judy Mitchell, one of the board members, and my main project with the group is the liaison between San Diego State and activities going on in the community. We all know they're putting in a new campus down at the bottom of the hill in Mission Valley. Snapdragon Stadium is up and running. The rest of the construction is not really doing much just yet. But I do meet regularly. We have a representative that's been assigned from the president's office to me. She is the community relations manager for San Diego State. So I work with her. We had lunch on Thursday and we're meeting regularly. She has promised to get us parking somewhere at the trolley. So we are fighting for that. I did meet last Friday with MTS. For those of you that were here at the meeting last spring, San Diego State came and did a presentation on the Mission Valley campus. And the police came and talked about some traffic issues down by the stadium. But half the questions that people asked them, the answer was, well, you have to talk to MTS about that. So I did. So I was able to work my way up through their chain of command. And I have now been given the ear of the director of planning for all of MTS. So I met with him last Friday. I asked for 15 minutes of their time and they ended up spending an hour and a half with me. Got to go up to the board room up in the MTS building and sit with them for a while. And they have now hooked up with the San Diego State people. So they're going to work together. They understand our concerns. A lot of us used to go down to the stadium and park and ride the trolley. They are of the idea that the trolley station is now just a drop off now. It's not a transit site. So the plan is really not to have any parking there or any major area for that. So we're working on changing that. So they seem to think initially that a couple parking places over by the new park are enough, but they're not. And even if someone were lucky enough to find a space over there, it's a long walk to the trolley. So they're working together with me. We're going to do everything we can to get you parking. Basically right now, when you get off the trolley and come down the stairs, that's where MTS's authority stops. Everything from the bottom step out is all owned by San Diego State now. So we're going to work on that.
Or any other places of because the green line is practically void except for fashion.
Well, that's the problem. I parked at the stadium, got my car towed. My friend and I parked at the Old Town Transit Center, which is legal, and we got our car stolen. So we definitely need some more security, some more parking. MTS has agreed to come out to our meeting in May. They're doing a whole comprehensive study. You may have seen it in the paper last Friday. They're gonna revamp or review all of the transit systems and the offerings to the public. They would like our input. So they are going to come in the May meeting and do a presentation for us. That's the last Tuesday in May. The MTS director will be doing the presentation on the changes they have planned and ideas they'd like from us on changes. And they showed a lot of them to me. It looks really good. I won't take time now because we have some other speakers, but they'll be coming in the May meeting. The other thing, Joe hasn't even heard this yet. This just happened last night. Zena has arranged for a lecture yesterday, which I attended here at the library, and it's called Fall Prevention. And it's sponsored by City of San Diego. They have a brand new program I don't think anybody knew about. And they offer services where you call the number, they will send a rep for free to your home, evaluate disabled or senior individuals who live in the city, and they will evaluate your home situation. Depending on your need, they will provide rubberized mats, carpets for your floor in the bathroom, for your bathtub, mats, installable bars that can go on without construction. If you want construction, that would be something else, but they can help with bars in your shower and canes, the prong bottom safety canes. And also the toilet frames that you put around the seat to help people get up. All of that, if they come out, do an evaluation and feel you need it or someone in your home, they will provide all that equipment for free. And I have personally purchased all that recently for family members, and it's not cheap. So I think it's wonderful, and they're going to come to our March meeting and make a presentation. Okay. Last thing is the Chinese red envelope that I gave to Sal. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but down at the stadium, they have now turned that into a fire gathering. I don't know what you call it, but there's fire trucks everywhere.
Command center.
What you call it?
It's CAL FIRE staging area.
Okay, so CAL FIRE staging area. I call it a bunch of cute firemen, but anyway. We went down there today and just said thank you to the firemen. They have tents, they have food, they have breaks for them. They come in gasoline, fill all the trucks now. Anyway, we went down there today. This just happened this afternoon. We took a whole big stack of those red envelopes to them to say thank you from the Serra Mesa group. Our neighborhood, as you know, Sal mentioned, we had a fire down by the big gas tanker trucks. And we had one at Grantville. They were kind of surrounding Serra Mesa and we lucked out. So we just wanted to say thank you from the community and the board. And we took a stack of those red envelopes. They're supposed to bring them luck for the whole coming year. So they could put one in each fire truck. Anyway.
All right, awesome.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions?
What did you say that the organization doing the fall prevention, the home safety?
It's sponsored by the City of San Diego.
Okay.
And it's actually, I don't know the background detail on the funding, but the city is paying for it and they're working through the Jewish Family Community Group. That's the group that's sponsoring the homeless safety shelter down by the stadium. And I'm not sure of their relationship, how that works, but it is all funded through the city. And I told the young lady, you need to say this up front because she gave her whole presentation. And then at the end, I said, well, how much did they charge her? She said, it's all free. So I thought it was just the visit that was free, but it's the equipment too. And it was really nice equipment. So I think people would really get some use out of this. So if someone in your home could use it, you could send an email to the Serra Mesa Community Council if you need some help before March when they do their presentation, and I can refer them to you. She said all it takes is a phone call to their office and they'll send someone out. There were people at the session here at the library yesterday, and she went out to their homes today and has them already going.
Awesome, thanks for the update.
Sure.
Appreciate it. You have some other things?
Yeah, the library actually had a really good caregiving seminar, which touched on what Judy had last Friday as well. So be sure and look at the newsletter for all the things that are happening here at the library, because some really good programs.
Has everybody signed up for the newsletters online? Fairness, little box up there, put out all that kind of stuff. And that mine was.
Okay, so I'm Cindy McIntyre and I'm the secretary, and we need to have an election of officers, which we always have in January. And these will serve for the 25 to 27 term. And those people who are up for election tonight are John Sema, who's our current vice president, Andrea Eaton, who's our current treasurer, Cindy Moore, who sits over here and does all kinds of wonderful things, Sandra Stahl, who I believe is probably online, and Debbie Campbell, who's right here in the front row. So is there anybody else who would like to serve on the executive board for the council? We have plenty of room. We have lots of things to do and things to cover. Anybody? Okay, we'll try and group you in next time. So instead of having just, because we have enough spots, we don't have to have a, ballot and all that. I just need a motion to elect those people I just named to the Serra Mesa Community Council for 2025 to 2027. I have a motion. Okay, Judy. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. Okay, all those in favor of electing once again, John Sema, Andrea Eaton, Cindy Moore, Sandra Stahl, and Debbie Campbell to the board, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just mention, if
Sure.
one of you out there decides later you'd like to be on the board, just let us know because we can vote you in.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a ton of stuff that we need to do and accomplish, so and all the help, we really appreciate it.
No, I'm sorry, I have one more thing.
Sure.
San Diego State. At our meeting earlier last year, we had a presentation by San Diego State. Or the vice president came out from Financial Affairs for Associated Students. They were having a program called Aztecs Rocks Hunger. And it was a drive to collect money for the San Diego Food Bank and also the food bank on campus at San Diego State. They had asked the council's involvement, the board members, not asking for donations necessarily, just asking for help spreading the word. So we did through our constant contacts, email, our websites, our social medias, and flyers and some businesses. And they invited me out just before Christmas. They had what they called the big reveal. And the president was there thanking everyone. And the CEO of Jacobs Cushman San Diego Food Bank. They mentioned the Serra Mesa Council twice. They appreciated our efforts. They have collected $875,000 in that program in the years they've been in operation. Their goal this year was to reach $1 million, and that was the big reveal. They collected now a total of $1,019,000. So they wanted to say thank you to the community. That San Diego Food Bank feeds 400,000 people a month. So they said thank you.
Okay, so next up, a really important issue for the community. Please everybody pay attention to this one, and answer the big questions if you have some. Rosa Alina,
Yes.
right? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Rosa Alina, doing the trash survey study.
Thank you.
All yours.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present to you tonight. My name is Rosa Elena Enriquez. I'm with the City of San Diego's Environmental Services Department, and with me is also Leah Jackson, she just stepped, my colleague, and I'm here to provide you a presentation, a quick update on Measure B, the cost of service study. Next, thank you. So just with a show of hands, how many of you have heard about Measure B? Okay, great, thank you. Just a little background on it, very brief. Measure B was passed in 2022 by the majority of voters, and it amended the People's Ordinance of 1919. It didn't implement the fee itself. It removed the prohibitions that allowed the city to look into implementing a fee for the collection of trash and recycling services. It did two main things. It defined who was going to receive the service, and then also, as I mentioned, remove that prohibition. So who is going to be eligible? Next slide, please. Single-family residences and multi-family residences with up to 4 units on a single lot. The residences with more than 4 units on a lot would be transitioning, will not would not be eligible anymore, so they would be transitioning into private hauler services. Next slide. So what does the cost of service study does? Well, we're looking at the cost of providing the services, the actual cost of providing the services. Also, we're looking at enhancements to the services that we're providing. Then we're also involving the public outreach. We want to know what do you think about the services? What enhancements would you like to see? And then a fee structure will be assessed. Next slide. So we have the timeline. Measure B was passed in November 2022. No, in March 2024, we went to council, and the contract for multidisciplinary consultant via a competitive process was passed. Then as soon as it was passed, then we started planning on the public outreach and engagement process, all with an equity lens. And what does that mean? That we're looking for it to be equitable, diverse, representative of the diversity of the community in San Diego, and then also accessible for everybody, because not everyone had been able to participate at the decision-making table. The first round of outreach started in July through September. We listened, we invited the public to come and share with us their opinions and any enhancement interests that they wanted on their services. July to September, that was our first phase. The second phase started in November. So we reported back to the public, what did we hear in the first round, and also invited again public input. So it's going through January as well. And then in November and December, we went to the Environment Committee to present an informational report, an update to the Environment Committee, and then December, we also presented to the full City Council, which is this informational update that we're sharing with you. Next slide, please. So we were out and about in the community. More than 6,000 people participated via the survey, attending community events. By us coming to the public at community presentations, we had our open house events, 9 in person, 1 each council district, and 1 virtual. So we were able to go out and meet with people. Next slide, please. We were able to reach more than 250,000 people via several means, multilingual print and internet ads. We also did interviews, radio, newspaper. We were able to get the word out. And most important of all, Team Green SD, we created a website where you will be able to find all this information from the first, second open house events. You will find all the materials in different languages. And then also we have been able to meet with community leaders so that we can get feedback on reaching out to those communities, getting feedback on being culturally correct. And also we had interviews with interested parties, and those in favor, those against, but we have been able to include everyone on the discussion. Next slide, please. So what did we hear back? We're happy to report that about 74 to 83% of the public reported that they were pleased with the service that we provide. And while that is great, there's always room for an improvement. So we strive to provide the best service possible. What were the top issues that we found? Well, damaged bins and the replacement of delayed or missed collections when we don't provide any update. Confusion about what's compostable, what's recyclable, what goes where. And then also that green waste attracts pests. Next slide. So the top choices, people wanted to make sure that we had different sizes available and different costs associated with them. Then increased recycling pickup. So right now the city is only offering bi-weekly recycling pickup. So it could potentially be every week. Then also bulky item pickup, meaning dresses, dishwashers, and bulky items pickup. The city doesn't offer it right now, so it could potentially be one of the services as well, the enhanced services. And then the replacement of those bins at no cost to the customer. And right now, the hazardous materials disposal is limited, the hours are limited, so that would also be expanded. Next slide. So as far as the feedback, other comments, well, some residents believe that they were already paying for the service through their property taxes. And as I mentioned, the 1919 People's Ordinance, while it called for a fee, right now, we don't charge. The city of San Diego doesn't charge a line item on your property tax that says collection of trash and recycling. So what happens is that we all pay, all the property owners, we pay to the county distributes that money. 45% of that funding goes to the school district. Then another percentage goes to special districts, another percentage goes to the county projects, and then about 18% goes to the cities. But that 18%, there are 18 cities within the county that compete for that money. So whatever comes to the city, a small slide, it is not enough to pay for fire and the police services. Then some residents requested again to just continue with this transparent process, because we want to make sure that you are aware of what's happening. Where are we at? What are we doing? teamgreensd.org, our website, has the dates of our events. Where are we at? What are we doing? And we are presenting to the community. We want to be able to get the word out. Also, some participants also mentioned that they were appreciative of the process. We had the open house events where we were able to talk one-to-one and share, you were able to share your concerns and we were listening. Next slide. So do we have an opportunity? Do you still have an opportunity to share your concerns? Yes, the answer is yes. Right now, you will see the QR code and the survey is open so that we can hear you. You can express your concerns. And also, just overall, we are not able to listen to you if you don't share that feedback. So it's important that you also help us participating on that survey. Also attending the open house events. So we will have another round, the third and final round of open house events, and they're coming up in February, March, and into April as well. If you have a question and you don't have time to ask tonight, please email us, trash@sandiego.gov. We review all those questions. We have content. We review everything that comes in. If you have questions about what was presented during the first round or second round, any materials, all that information, all the boards that we have, they're also on the website. So as I mentioned, your input is vital for the improvement of this project. Next slide. As I mentioned also, the third and final open house events are coming up, mid-February, March, and a little bit into April. And we will be presenting the cost of service study results and the proposed fees at the February Environment Committee, and then March at full City Council. And then this information will also be shared via the cleangreensd.org. Please join us coming up on the third round. Yes.
So next month is when you will make it public, the expense cost?
The proposed fees, yes. Yes, we will share the information with the Environment Committee and the City Council.
I'm a little confused about the timeline. When are the open houses, the next round?
Let me share with you because we still have one more slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem.
It sounded like February, you were gonna have the.
Yeah, so we did the informational updates, the resolution of support for tax roll billing at the Environment Committee and full City Council, November, December. We are currently into round 2 of the community engagement. And then in February, mid-February, we're estimating going to Environment Committee at that point. March, we will present also to the full City Council, February Environment Committee, full City Council in March. And then in the meantime, February, March, and a little bit into April, we will have the third round of engagement. Once the council in March decides, gives us the okay, or decides, yes, it's a go, please proceed with the Prop 218 process to explore the potential fee, then we will be sending the mailers only to those residences that will be affected. You may ask, well, why did everybody vote for this when I am being affected? Well, when the People's Ordinance of 1919 was passed, the whole city voted to enact it.
Yeah,
So that's
the people
why-
that voted weren't property owners. So it should just be property owners that vote on this. not-
The whole, well, the way that the municipal code is established,
People that don't own property shouldn't be. able to vote.
understood. But at that time, everybody in the
What
city,
we're talking about now, not then, that was over 100 years ago.
I hear you, and
Very different, but
true,
very
and
different city.
you will have a chance to
This is really
actually,
important.
Aha, thank you.
This is a really important. part.
this is the important part, because you, like the property owner, you will have a say on the saying yes or no to the proposed fee. So only the property owners will be able to protest, and that is a 45-day period, whether or not you're in favor, you're not in favor of the proposed fee. Only the property owners will be able to move this.
And another question, I'll help you out a little bit here. I've heard this question asked a couple times. When you get the ballot in the mail, please correct me if I'm wrong. If you don't send it in, that's a yes.
It is not a yes.
Okay,
What happens is that you have been given the opportunity to protest the fee, so it won't count, it won't
Okay.
count it.
so I just wanted, okay, so we have, in order for it to be a yes or no, somebody has to actually return the ballot that comes in your mailbox at the last part.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, you will be receiving,
You have to
send it in,
yeah,
yeah, you will have to respond to that mailer. And in June, the city council will count those, the city clerk will be receiving those protest ballots. And then the city council will do a vote in June. Just a moment, the earliest fee and when the customer portal will be available, if the fee passes, and the city council, the constituents the city council may say, we're not going for the full fee, we're going partial, or we may not implement it. So we need to wait for the city council determination. Yes, sir.
What's the environment committee date in February?
February 13, we estimate going February 13.
You're on the agenda.
Not yet, because the docket closes on the 4th. So until then, a week after, that's when the agenda is released.
where will that be posted?
It would be on the city clerk's
Okay,
page, yes,
we should make sure we get that on our website.
yes.
Quick question, so if it's approved, is this like a monthly fee?
What is going to happen is that you will, there's a portal, a customer portal, where the customer would go and select the number of bins, the sizes of the bins, and the fee associated with that will be an annual fee that will be reflected on your property tax bill. And then you will have a choice to pay the 2 installments as you do with your property, or you can do the full fee.
So it's really important that we all get involved in whichever way you want this to go.
Yes.
I have a question. Do you think that the tax structure will change on our tax? You said it's 17% that's coming your way now. So will that 17% be taken out of our, say we pay 2,000 every 6 months? Will 17% be taken out of that, and then we'll have this fee instead? So we might actually get a reduction?
It is not a reduction. What is going to happen is that the fees will go strictly into a fund, an enterprise fund, designated only for the trash collection and recycling services. The city is not, per Prop 218, the city cannot make a profit out of this, out of this fee. So whatever,
Our bill, is that what you're gonna do, add a new line item?
yes, you will see a line item on your. And yes, that will go directly to the city, the county, we have been working with the county to see if they would entertain this, and yes, they have accepted. What is going to happen is that this money going into the enterprise fund, the funds that we use from the general fund will not be longer used, and they will return to the city, and the mayor and the city council will determine where to apply. So that's what's happening. We would use the whatever fee money that we get, it will go into strictly a fund just for the collection of trash. Yes, miss.
A question about the number of units that would be charged, but I did want to say thank you for the open house workshops that you did. That was really a great setup. Whoever's idea it was to have those. That was very well received.
Thank you.
They had a chance to talk. And so if you understand it, every property tax owner is going to get a ballot in the mail and get to vote.
Yes, only the property owner, yes.
So my question is, you mentioned that, I believe you said 4 units or less would be involved.
Up to 4 units, yes.
Okay. So for example, you have all these apartments, they're doing their regular thing with their trash collection.
Mhm.
But then you have these people that are now building ADUs, do you know what those are?
Yes.
Okay, so say we have a neighbor, Brandon, what's it? Right, but what I'm asking is, we have an ADU where they put 6 units on the property, they're not gonna pay.
They're going to go to private holder service.
They won't, because an AD is not considered and it's attached to.
So they're gonna fall through the cracks and get away free.
They're the same parcel and it's not 2 or 3, it's, an ADU is not considered an additional home.
It would be identified by the county.
It's not.
Leah, would you like to?
There's 880, you go a lot.
And there are more than 4 properties on a lot, lease, which they were not being serviced by ESD, but our RGS analysis actually will detect the EE properties.
This presentation, can people download this if they want, or
This information
is it on?
it is not on the Clean Green SD, but this is what we're presenting at the community presentation.
I had took a picture, I don't know. I didn't know. Put that screen shot back on. Go back.
Telephone number? Yeah.
Right there.
Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Should post that on page that shows the timelines and what we.
Yeah, we could do that.
Are we, can we post that one, the timeline? Or?
Yes, definitely.
That way people know. Because you know, I think it's called a junk mail now as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Is there, I do want to keep the meeting moving.
Yeah, I know,
But
I just
there's-
have another
Good question, yeah,
on the timeline.
sure.
We can go to the next slide. It sounds. Yeah, if you're still doing outreach in February and March, how are you gonna present cost of service studies in February? If you haven't completed the outreach?
It is going to be happening simultaneously, and we are going to do 2 presentations for Environment Committee on the 13th, and then March, by the middle of March. So the outreach and engagement is going to take place weekly. That way we can reach every council district.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
okay,
We're not looking for inputs, they're telling what's gonna be. So they're not gonna take it. No, that way, it's a telling.
Yes.
So I did get the number of 4 units, or we don't know.
That was the definition that was as proposed by the measure B. Leah?
Which I would say before.
Sort of municipal code, so most of it is.
No, the mics are on and I-
Maybe over 4, I mean. Also, just extra job work. Versus like a smaller community, you know, 4 is ready to this.
So it's a residential zoning versus commercial.
We don't have a lot of
Different.
policies, also not states, like if you're a 7 acre property, you might not have a lot of space for kids, you don't have that service. You don't have many handicaps, you know, things and things that and it can continue 6 months would be too much. Too many kids in one public street.
It seems like 2 or 3 is also a lot of units. Would you say like a 3-story, like brownstone, like sort of building, really? It's not really a house.
And the new ADUs are not required.
Right,
So you have to put all those
so
trash
it
cans
seems
out.
like they're kind
Yeah,
of.
when you get this trash can, it also takes us to basically. I mean.
If I may suggest also, if you don't have a chance to get a response tonight, if you could email us at trash@sandiego.gov, that way we can respond, that way we can keep moving because I can say that you were very busy tonight, so. Thank you again on behalf of the city and the environmental services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All right. Okay, so, I believe it's Tuesday, February 5th, right? It's Stonecrest. That's, when the next, Raul Campillo is gonna do his town hall for Serra Mesa. So Miles is here from Raul's office, if you wanna come and. Sure, folks have a bunch of questions for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need the microphone or not, it's not really working that
Yeah,
great.
this is me working. I'll try, just try, yeah.
There you go.
All right, went out. Okay. So Joe was able to send me over a few of the questions that you all have, or at least have had for the past few months. So like you said, town hall is gonna be next Wednesday, at 6 p.m. At Stonecrest. I know it's, yeah, should be Wednesday. You can double check on that. At 6 p.m. in Stonecrest. We just decided to have it there. Councilmember wanted to have it there. It's a 93 area code. We just thought we would include the community of Stonecrest. If you have any more questions about that, I'd be more than happy to take them. There is no online option this year. In years past, we would go through the effort of setting it all up. And maybe one person would show up online. So we decided to keep our community comms team a little rest and not have an online option this year. For the Serra Mesa Library project, the old one on Sand Rock Road, the items should be coming to land use and housing next month. So we'll see a lot more of the details that they finalized. They're just waiting for some more finalized signature documents from the developer. But I can keep you guys updated on that if anything changes.
So that's next month, we said?
That is next month, yes, at the land use and housing meeting.
What day is land?
I think it was the 6th. I'd have to double check on that for you. I know it was at 1 p.m., but I don't remember what date it was on. I can double check though. It's on the city website.
Okay.
Ruffin Canyon Trail has been foreseeably delayed. It looks like essentially, it was set to go through finalized this winter, essentially this month, be finalized, the southern portion of it. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the engineering staff got involved, held up the process. It would have cost a lot more, taken a lot more time if we had engineering staff rather than just park staff handle it. So between those two departments feuding, it held the process. Councilmember Campillo is currently requesting a briefing on what exactly happened. It looks like that meeting will be happening next week. And I can report on what happens at that meeting at that time.
Yeah, why did engineering get involved? This has been a process for over 10 years.
That's exactly what we want to know, because the whole northern portion was done without engineering. So yeah, that's basically what we're trying to figure out.
Approved once, so I don't understand why some of the department gets in there.
Right, yeah.
I think the date was this winter, right? Or-
It was, yes, this winter. So if it keeps up like this, it's gonna be next winter. So we're gonna make sure that hopefully we get things resolved next week. I saw that a lot of apparently people had questions about off-leash enforcement at parks. A lot of people have seen off-leash dogs. If you see this, just call the SC Humane Society. I have their number here if anyone wants it. I can give that to you now or after. Also with regard to the ADUs, they are legal now. So you can send me, if you have any questions about people maybe not adhering to their permits, anything that's going on, it's weird with their ADUs, send them to me. I'll file a get a report and I can expedite that process for you, have staff look into it. There have been a few times where people are not adhering to their permits and they've been enforcing it, so please do let me know. The Fermi light
I know Alexia has been asking me about this one.
There's it on.
Yeah, I know, there's more. Yeah, no, I mean, like I like to let her know, engineers have identified that there was a capital improvement project that unfortunately damaged this light, the loop for it, so. Engineers are on it, there's a work order for it, they should hopefully identify how to fix the issue and soon and get it fixed for you, so they've identified what happened, and it's just the incoming fix, so I think that was it from the list, unless anyone has any questions, so.
On the traffic light issue, one of the comments that was made at our board meeting, don't know if this is the case, but maybe when they resurface the road and put in the bike lanes.
Closing in 30 minutes. Computer access will shut down automatically in 50 minutes. If you need to save or please do so now. If you need assistance, please come to the front desk.
A comment was made that possibly when they did the road resurfacing, with the bike lanes all over, that maybe some of the sensors got covered, like, big fixed later.
Yeah, I did hear about that. There were a few that were fixed at the time. I do know that was one of the issues. But this might be a different issue that's a bit more ingrained into the actual system itself. I'm not sure why, because I did get a few of them fixed, but for whatever reason, they're not able to fix it as fast.
What did you say exactly they were gonna be signing next week pertaining?
They didn't tell me exactly what documents they were. There's just some final documents they need in order to put them on the agenda. They go through this whole process in order to finalize through the system. So I should know more hopefully within this week.
Yeah, now when you say final documents to put on the agenda, whose agenda are they?
It's the
going to put those-
land use and housing agenda. So they'll put community housing works and their project on the agenda.
And then does that mean that the Serra Mesa planning group has an opportunity to vote for it or against it? Which means that's what we have to accept.
You don't have a chance to vote for or against it at that meeting. You can voice your your concerns. Please call in the public comment during that time, and that will definitely sway how the council member views the project. If you have any legitimate concerns about it, of course, I've also been listening as well, letting you know, so he already knows quite a bit of the concerns, but please feel free to call in at that time too.
And you are aware that we had concerns with what was presented and proposed to us in the past?
Yes, I have let the council member know.
Those are the things that were opposed to 59, 60 units.
Yeah.
That's probably what we got, outside of bike lanes, that's probably the most feedback we've got.
Yes.
Yeah, the top one, sure.
We were willing to go with the 29 units, but 60 units.
But at the library?
That's the whole
Yeah,
library.
the old library.
Yes.
So,
They can't sell it to private citizens. Don't be that outside.
well, when is it gonna be brought up again?
Should be February 6th. The last meeting was at 1 p.m. I would assume it'd be the same time.
Is Raul on that committee or?
He is actually, yes. That's a new committee for us, so he'll be there.
Oh, you gotta sign up.
Yes.
Well, out of curiosity, this is my first time that time.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do with those open lot across the Taft Middle School? I was just wondering where all the buildings.
The bigger open lot or the smaller one?
No, the big one.
The big one, I
was just
am
wondering,
unaware.
It's been empty, but because now I see all this apartment
You're talking
complex and building.
Yeah, there's, I don't know of any projects coming in yet.
Okay.
Usually they come to us.
More housing, I'm like.
Yeah, no, there's nothing been confirmed like
Would you like
that.
to place it in?
Yeah.
The last word we heard, I don't know if it's still true, is they're still had trouble with the gas tanks that were under the ground there. The gas station was in that place. Where the Guild building is, that corner, that by the lights.
That's been mitigated.
Yeah. We're kind of hoping they take.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question about parking enforcement.
Yeah.
Seems to be non-existent since staff in the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Is that going to change? Because we have people on our street that are unregistered trailers that have been there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we never see anybody come by and even look at it.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's something I could talk with him as well, but Officer Sal, he's usually the one, especially in Serra Mesa, I've gotten a lot of them here. He's been really good about having traffic and or parking enforcement go out and tag them, and or if they don't move them, then they'll move them themselves. So I can let them know. What street was it on?
What's that?
What street was that on?
Hauser?
Okay. All right. And if you have his information, I can give that to you as well.
Yes.
His card's up here. Okay,
Card's
yeah.
here.
If you call him as well, I can call him and we
You
can
can put it on that too.
let him know.
Well, I've reviewed that.
February, what's it?
Oh, committee, land use and housing.
No, the one that's at Stonecrest.
Oh, the town hall.
But I'm trying to find the date of where it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Anything else on Miles? Please, okay.
Yeah.
The intersection of Sean Ave and Mitchellville Drive. SHAW.
Yeah.
So the sort of like the safety concerns. It's a concurrent green light. So it obviously helps with traffic and gets everything moving. It's a mile, less than a mile from public school, Torres. So when we cross with our kids, everyone's getting a green light to turn right, green light to turn left, and then, you know, kids are walking, parents are crossing.
Okay.
Sort of.
A hazard, safety hazard,
sort
yeah.
of hazard for walkers.
I can have traffic evaluate the intersection to see if there's anything more we can do there. And it typically takes 90 days for them to get back with the results, but I can definitely let you know.
So just an opportunity, they're building a, you know, a new development.
Mhm.
We would expect any developer to pitch in towards.
Yeah, there's been-
updating that intersection a little bit.
Yeah.
A little pizzazz.
Definitely.
Safety.
Yeah, I can ask the developer as well.
Couple left green arrows. Timing shot.
Yeah.
Pedestrian sign.
Right.
That sign, right, they gotta do not turn at times. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
they
good.
can have pedestrians start walking.
It's really helpful at Murray Ridge and Sandrock Road. They give the pedestrians about, like 10 seconds to start out into the street.
Yeah.
Before they let any cars go, and I think it's very helpful. Because I
Yeah.
walk here every day. So, yeah, that would be
It's-
something that down there, Sean, that would be helpful.
That would help. I think that saves about 60%, is that, just because if you do a heads up to the pedestrian. But I think still you get vans or like storage units that are parked in the corners. Ones for, you know, the recycling center in the bodega there, so.
Yeah.
You don't get good visibility on the right turns.
Right, okay.
And you've got to start walking your kid and someone's taking. their
Yeah.
Work or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I can have them evaluate the intersection. Thank you.
Good question. Anything else from Miles?
All right, I also have newsletters and flyers that you have with, so if anyone wants anything, they're right over there. Thank you.
And remember, was it Wednesday, February 5th? It's Stonecrest. Everybody knows
Yes.
where that's at, in that Walmart type area right down in Hannon. So I'm gonna be there. Hopefully we get everybody there to participate, ask good questions and all that. Raul Campy will be there. Michaela, do you have anything to present?
I do, yeah.
Okay, from Sarah Jacobs' office.
Hi, everybody. Michaela from Congresswoman Jacobs' office. Just a couple of things from our office this month. As of January 3rd, we started the 119th Congress. So Congresswoman Jacobs was sworn into her third term and is excited to continue serving constituents in CA 51. As we wrapped up 2024, our office is celebrating some accomplishments from the year. We helped over 1,400 San Diegans who needed assistance with federal agency and returned over $23 million back to the community. So super excited about that. Another housekeeping thing, our office is currently in the process of moving. We're finalizing some details with our new office space. So once we have a new address to release to the public, that will be updated on our website. But for now, if you need to get in contact with us, we're always available over the phone or via our website, or if you want to send me an email, whatever's easiest for you all. And then since it's the beginning of the year, I'm going to give you all the reminder. If you or a neighbor or someone you know that lives in our district is in need of assistance with a federal agency, so think VA, IRS, Social Security, Medicare. If it's a federal agency, we can certainly take a look at the situation and see if we're able to help. So again, if you or someone you know that lives in our district is in need of that service, please reach out to us. We're only able to do this for constituents of our district, but it's cross congressional districts. So if you know someone that's a little bit out of our district, we're happy to get them referred over to the right congressional office. Every office offers the same services. That is all I have. Anyone has any questions?
And Mikhail's information's on the package. She's really good at getting back to folks. So if you have any questions,
Why do you have two phones? One is my government phone and one is my personal phone. Gotta stay separate.
it's a good question, a good time for federal level question.
Well, yeah,
Do you have a question?
I know, I'm
Oh, okay.
very upset. I know, she's doing. Anyway. Thank you.
Anyone else? Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, and we have Brian from Joel Anderson's office, District 2, and feel free to hear. I think he's got some packets he's in.
They just like it. I don't know.
Oh, I think that the business card for other is right there. Yes, so don't fight over the business card. Sally's got it too.
I'm gonna leave these at the front desk because they're closing, and as we break up, I'll have everybody finish signing, then I can leave that later. I just wanted to forward them.
Are you going to the front desk? This needs to be shadow on it.
Ticket.
Just tell them.
And just leave them. I'll pick them back from you.
What was that? Do we just have them? Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
So much pickup.
Yeah, that's us.
2023.
I think it's
Don't forget to-
2025, right? So like.
I have to update this to 2024.
Well, our internal processes are good at that.
Oh, I used to work for the county. It was.
So, good evening, Happy New Year. My name is Brian, and I am honored to be here on behalf of County Supervisor Joe Anderson. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you on behalf of Supervisor Joe Anderson and share some updates on what our office is doing to represent you at the county. I have distributed Supervisor Anderson's 2023 legislative actions and accomplishments report. It is the thick one, the booklet, middle. This document details some of the highlights from last year or the year before, it's 2025, and how Supervisor Anderson is making county government work for you. So one of the accomplishments from the year before was Supervisor Anderson's board action with San Diego County Sheriff Kelly Martinez to explore the feasibility of providing childcare services for the Sheriff's Department and other county public safety personnel. This benefit will help retain current officers and attract new ones to promote public safety throughout San Diego County. Supervisor Anderson's board action passed unanimously in February of last year. Supervisor Anderson spearheaded the creation of Artificial Intelligence Subcommittee at the county to explore and implement this transformative technology to improve county services. This subcommittee held their second meeting this month on January 15th. This effort is in line with Supervisor Anderson's top priority of making county government serve his constituents. And if you're flipped after the booklet to the grants, we have a grants flyer. The local government agencies and nonprofit community organizations may also apply for funding from the Neighborhood Reinvestment Program or Community Enhancement Program. This first round of grants awards was made in December of 2024. A second round of awards will be made in May of 2025. Our office is now accepting new applications through April 30th of 2025. Last fiscal year, Supervisor Anderson awarded, I gotta get this number right, it's very specific, $4,128,605 to small businesses and nonprofits in District 2. And if you'll look at the last page of the booklet I handed out, it's about the internship. Okay, so lastly, Supervisor Anderson is always accepting new interns to join his dedicated team. If you're looking to volunteer in your community or know a high school or college student or young professional who is looking for valuable professional experience, applicants can be directed through supervisor's website at supervisorjoeanderson.com. And most importantly, I've attached these half sheets to the front of the entire booklet. Feel free to fill these out. It's 2-page, so it's got your contact information at the back. We want to hear your voices and get things addressed that you feel are the most important. I'll be collecting these later at the door. And where is Joe? Can somebody, I'm going to hand out the certificate of appreciation from our office to the Serra Mesa Community Council as thanks for everything that you guys do for us in District 2. Joe, can you, what is that? We have certificates for you guys as thanks for everything that you do for the district. Somebody take a picture. Here.
Thank you. This is yours. This is mine. This whole thing. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much. Thank you. Now we don't need. Anybody have any questions, John?
If you have any questions, feel free to contact our office Monday to Saturday. We are available to take our calls from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And any other questions can be directed to www.supervisorjoeanderson.
Do you know if he's going to do another town hall? The last one was pretty good. It was in TRC, I think.
Mission Trails, right?
Or
Mission Trails.
Mission Trails, that's right, yeah.
I do not have the schedule, but you can put in, if you formally put in an inquiry, or I can ask on behalf.
Yes, if you could ask when he's going to do another one, it's a pretty good, pretty formal.
I can answer you after.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, is there any representatives on the phone that have anything they want to ask? Nobody? Okay, I think we're at the main event then, right? So we are going to do a history of Serra Mesa. You guys have the presentation?
Yep, we're good.
I think we're all Jeff Swain, he's going to do a history of Serra Mesa presentation.
Jeff Swain is doing the presentation, and he doesn't want me to embarrass him with an elegant intro, so I'm just gonna say, here's Jeff. What started this is he found a box of old photos in his dad's basement, and I asked him if he might want to come to our meeting one day and maybe show them off and add a few words. I saw the presentation the other night, and he did a stunning job, so I hope you enjoy it.
The music, it's a trick I learned from substitute teaching. For some reason, it's hard to get people to quiet down, so I play the throne room music from Star Wars, and kids somehow get the idea. I tell them that I like to work with musical cues because we can have fun with it. Otherwise, you're dealing with a substitute with an attitude. So there we go. So here we are, Serra Mesa 92123, a presentation to the Community Council. So Mr. Chairman, thank you. Members of the council, distinguished guests, members of the community, thank you for allowing me to be here. And if I could have the next slide here. There we go. So as Judy mentioned, I am the founder and author of the Serra Mesa 92123 website, dedicated to the history, memory, and community of Serra Mesa. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about history for a minute. Let me grab my notes here because I've got some details. And we can have the next slide, please. We're going to begin with the Battle of San Pasqual. How many have heard of the Battle of San Pasqual? How many have not heard of the Battle of San Pasqual? How many aren't sure if they know about the Battle of San Pasqual? how many don't care? Okay, December 6, 1846, the Mexican War is just starting. The United States of America is about to go on to the greater part of the southwestern United States. And of course, they need to consolidate their claims in California, so they need to put an army on the ground. So they send Stephen Watts Kearny. His name is Kearny. We call it Kearny because some real estate developer back in the 50s put his name on the place, but it's Kearny. And by the way, it's Serra Mesa, not Sierra Mesa. Pet peeve. Okay, so here we go. Stephen Watts Kearny, he comes out from Leavenworth, Kansas, marches 2,000 miles to the Valley of San Pasqual. A lieutenant in his command by the name of Thomas C. Hammond is out scouting, and he runs across the California Army of Andres Pico. And he goes back and reports to Kearny. Now, a couple of things you might pick up on right away. Number one is Kearny's men were dragoons. They were foot soldiers. But when they were at Warner's Ranch for a couple of days, they picked up some mules. So these are mules who are beasts of burden, basically. They are not cavalry horses. Okay, so they arrive in the San Pasqual Valley, and they are met by the soldiers of Andres Pico. Pico's men are armed with lances. I don't know if you can see that, but they are armed with lances. And this, of course, is before repeating rifles. So the Americans all have muzzle loaders and swords, your standard military saber. And the Californios have lances. The Americans get their butts kicked. Okay, they retreat, next slide, please. They retreat to a place called Battle Mountain. Now, you've probably seen the signs for Mule Hill. Mule Hill is not where the Americans retreated to. They retreated to Battle Mountain, and you can see as you're driving south on 163, you can see a big white cross sitting on top of the mountain. That is Battle Mountain, and they have proved that that is the place where Kearny's men retreated to because they found things like belt buckles and shoelaces and the little pieces of leather. So anyway, what happened then is that a couple of men in Kearny's command hiked all the way down from Battle Mountain, all the way down to the Presidio of San Diego, where Commodore Stockton aboard the USS Congress and assorted Marines and sailors, mountain men, Delaware Indians, and civilians from Sutter's Fort. They were all congregated in San Diego. They go up, they got an army of about 200 men. They disperse the Californios. The Californios claim they won the battle. Kearny says, well, you know, we got an army on the ground, so we won. Big controversy to this day in the historian community. You can see where the San Pasqual Valley and battlefield is. There's a visitor center there. Go on a weekend, make sure it's open. I have a wonderful video presentation of the whole Mexican War, which lasted another 2 years, ending with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which had many interesting features. So because General Kearny, had to hike all the way down there, this area in the middle is called Kearny Mesa. And that's where we are today. And if I could have the next slide, please. And the belligerents in this case were the United States and Mexico. Andres Pico was on the Mexican side. Americans had 150 to start off with, 18 killed, 13 wounded. We'll move on from there. Next slide, please. Now, this is a map probably about the 1930s of San Diego. This is a USGS topographical map. And you can see what's in Kearny Mesa. Miramar up there at the top. And in 1930, there was still Camp Kearny. And that's up where Miramar Naval Air Station is, or Marine Corps Air Station is now. Miramar was the Scripps estate. The Scripps Howard newspapers, Mr. Scripps built his summer quarters there in Miramar. And then look down here, you can see where Murphy Canyon is, and Serra Mesa is right there. And farther down, you see Chesterton. Now, you've probably driven through Linda Vista. You've probably seen Chesterton Elementary School. Chesterton was part of the Army base of Camp Kearney. And you can see that it kind of straddles what in those days was Highway 395. And what we see on the right-hand side of 395 is what we now call Birdland. And then, of course, Murray Canyon, which is the home of the 805 right now. Next slide, please. I don't know if you noticed it, but there are some straight and orderly lines attached to Camp Kearney up there on the Miramar site. And you can see how all the tents are lined up, how neat and orderly it all is. You can see Culls Mountain there in the background. Next slide, please. This brings me to my dad. And my dad is the reason I am in San Diego. Harry Swain graduated from Proviso Union High School, Elmwood Park, Illinois, class of 1939. He taught banjo and guitar, and he was a galley boy at the Chicago American, which is a newspaper. He turned 21 on December 5th, 1941. Pearl Harbor was attacked on December 7th, and on December 8th, my dad began hitchhiking out to San Diego. Next slide, please. Now, he was training to be an artilleryman at Camp Elliott. Camp Elliott is still there, and it still belongs to the Marine Corps. And this mountain, today we call it North Fortuna Mountain, or just Fortuna Mountain. And without too much imagination, you can see that Fortuna Mountain is in the shape of a woman lying on her back. That's a geographical feature. It wasn't designed that way. Now, I am told that the Marines called her Nellie, and the height of marksmanship for an artilleryman at Camp Elliott was to drop a shell at, well, they weren't aiming for her toes. They were aiming for another part of her anatomy. So anyway, just up north, this is, okay. Anyway, Dad was there at Camp Elliott. He gets shipped out. Next slide, please. And, oh, I'm sorry. And while he was at Camp Elliott, there was an attack on Santa Barbara. I don't know if you know this story, but a submarine surfaced off the coast of Santa Barbara, dropped 17 shells into an oil derrick, caused a great deal of damage and great panic up and down the West Coast. My dad and his fellow Marines were out in the bush on the slopes of North Fortuna, or Nellie, in their underwear, waiting for the enemy to come ashore. Next slide, please. Okay, so Dad served in the United States Marine Corps January 8th, 1942 to January 8th, 1946, served in the Quartermaster Corps everywhere from Guadalcanal to Iwo Jima. 110% casualties on Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima was, of course, a very bloody battle of World War II. The first Marines went in, they got 100% casualties, and then they got another 10% casualties among the replacements. That's why they say that 110%. Dad returned stateside in February of 1945, finished out as quartermaster for the United States Marine Corps Band, the president's own, buried Alicia Ann Robertson on June 14th, 1945, honorably discharged at the rank of corporal on January 8th, 1946. And you can see where I put his name up there. I think they were stationed in New Zealand for a while. I think they were on a field trip to Rotorua that day, and they took this panoramic photo.
If I may add, Jeff's dad of the 110% casualties, he would have been in that group, but he was just this much too short.
Yeah, Dad was 5'6" and weighed 125 pounds in fighting trim. And after a particularly horrendous hiking day on New Zealand, they he pounded his feet into hamburger, and the lieutenant came around and said, you know, you're a detriment to the unit, so we're gonna put you in the QM and quartermaster corps. Okay, next slide, please. And Dad married Alicia Ann Robertson. I don't want to shortchange my mom. She was the pillar of strength for our family. She went to work. She was a nurse's aide at Sharp Hospital, just for the sake of putting braces on my teeth. Got us through, you know, many trials and tribulations. As Dad was a union man, he got fired, things like that, and raised 3 children. That's Dad on the left, Mom on the right, me in the upper left. That's my brother Steve on the upper right, and my sister Laura. And so we all moved to Mission Village. Next slide, please. And here is Mission Village in the state of construction. This is the backside of, did I hear there's a gentleman here from Towser Street? Okay, this is the backside of Towser Street, Sandrock Road, and there's the foundation lower left being raised. That steam shovel, the shovel portion, the engine was gone, but they left the shovel portion there when we moved in. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see Cowles Mountain out there, and you can see the what my dad called the cracker box construction of Mission Village homes. Next slide, please. Now, my recollection is that the week we moved in, my dad got an opportunity to go up in an airplane and take photos. So here we are, 1957, that is Sharp Hospital in 1957. Children's Hospital to the right of that, you'll notice the water tower. Notice that it does not go through. That's Mesa College Drive now. In those days, it was called Artillery Drive because it was a relic from Camp Kearney. You'll notice that the footprint of some of the barracks of Camp Kearney are still here in 1957. Now, just behind that strut is going to be where Juvenile Hall is today. So, and of course, that's all been taken over by different health and health buildings. And you can see the beginnings of Cabrillo Village and Cabrillo Heights on the opposite side of Murphy Canyon, or excuse me, Murray Canyon. The 805 runs up Murray Canyon today. Next slide, please. And this is Mission Village. You'll note, and Cabrillo Heights, you'll notice the Cabrillo Native housing on the left. You'll notice that big scraped off spot. That is going to be the Mission Village Shopping Center. Also the home of Joey Wilker Field before the shopping center goes in. Opposite is that little spit of land there. You can see that's going to be Taft Junior High School. On the right, you can see that big square thing there. That is Jones Elementary, which has already been built. Couple of things. I don't know if you can quite tell it from here, but Arrow Drive ends at Sandrock Road. Arrow Drive does not go all the way through to Murphy Canyon. We had to hike there to go there. And you can see the scraped off spot on the top left. And that's about it. But you can see Sandrock Canyon, which goes all the way down to Friars Road, which was a 2-lane country road at the time. Next slide, please. This is a little bit later, but this is the bottom of Sandrock Canyon. I think this particular picture was taken because a car had driven over the barricades and had crashed down there at the bottom. And you can see there's this big hollow spot. And remember, at one point, somebody knocked over a fire hydrant at the corner of Sandrock Road and Murray Ridge Road, and that was about 4 feet deep in water as the water came all the way down Sandrock Road. Next slide, please. And here we are 30 years later, 1987, my parents are burning the mortgage as they finally paid off the house. Next slide, please. Okay, now we have a little video thing coming up here. Can we pull that up? Okay, and go. Do we have sound? No, we gotta hit that little speaker with the X on it.
Dad, here, Tony's aerial photos in 1957.
Get,
Oh, yeah, the speaker went off again. Facebook.
1957, down there also was houses in the streets. It was an area we used to call Dog Town. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it elsewhere. It was, it's just the things that developer came up with. It's like house. You don't know that's a house. One elevations. Also, Skipper and Chef Blaney, famous Airedale Terrier by President Warren Harding, years on the board. So that's 19. And Justice developers went to name the dog streets. I'll drive for a neighbor, lucky in Serra Mesa. Maybe I'll think that'll be something about
thank you, Ken Kramer. Let's give Ken an applesauce. And next slide, please.
Hold on. Sure.
And by the way, coming down from Battle Mountain was none other than Kit Carson himself, along with Lieutenant Beale, who originally reported to Commodore Stockton. He was sent up to San Pasqual to find General. Okay, this was an interesting article I ran across during my research. This was looks like about 1960. I can't quite make it out, but apparently it was quite a deal because the city was running out of street names. They'd used up all the presidents, they'd used up all the states, and now they focused on what was still in those days Cabrillo Heights to find some strange names. Next slide, please. And so you see Heraldry and Pomeroy, Laddie and Towser, Grayling and Harjone. Harjone is probably a contraction of two people's names. And of course, the ever famous Have It Your Way at the corner of You Need a Place. Next slide, please. Now, I was a founding member of the Wegaforth Elementary School student body. I entered in the 3rd grade. These are the PTA moms and dads and teachers. There's my 5th grade teacher, Mary Jimenez Steckbauer, and she pronounced it that way. She said it was Jimenez. I don't know if you were alive then, but on the Steve Allen show about once a week, you'd see Jose Jimenez, and he was an astronaut, but she was Jimenez. She was from Massachusetts. Anyway, up in the upper right there, you can see Nancy Hawk. Now, Hawk may be a familiar name to you because of the famous skateboarder, Tony Hawk. Older sisters Lenore and Pat were at my high school. Lenore was class of 65, Pat was class of 68. And little Tony came along about that time. So Tony was a late baby. Legend is, and I'm not sure if this is absolutely true, so don't hold me responsible for it, but Tony was kind of an ADD kid. And his father, when Tony was in middle school, found a focus in skateboarding. And consequently, you probably know, Tony became a famous skateboarder. Daughter number 2, Patricia Hawk, had a brilliant career as a band singer. She sang in a local garage band. She went to college. She got her degree in accounting, resumed her musical career, and ended up singing as a backup vocalist for Michael Bolton. She sang at the Clinton inaugural. Pat also knew a lot of celebrities from her connections in show business, and she started doing all their taxes. So when it came time for little Tony to become famous, Pat knew everybody. She knew about merchandising. She knew about scheduling events. She knew how to run the business. When I talked to the older boy, Steve Hawk, who was my sister's age, class of 73 attorney, he said the Tony Hawk Foundation was worth $135 million. Next slide. Now, one of the wonderful things about that group of PTA moms is they set up polio clinics. They started at Wagaforth, they went over to Andrew, they went over to Jones, Coverly and Juarez weren't there yet. There are no cases of polio in Serra Mesa since 1957. Because these moms had the presence of mind to set up these clinics. By the way, that young lady there, her name is Susan Sensible, and she's still alive and well. Next slide, please. This is my third grade class. I mentioned Joey Wilkerfield. Joey was our first Mission Village martyr. He was killed in a traffic accident where Highway 395 met Friars Road. Just, okay. And I'm getting the signal to move on, but Joey was our first martyr. The other people marked in black there are no longer with us. Go ahead, please. Next slide. And that's what some of those kids grew up to be. Next slide, please. I was also a founding member of the Taft Junior High School student body, and I have the distinction of being the first kid at Taft being sent to the vice principal's office. We were still in the Montgomery building at the time, and the safety patrol guy was telling me to walk my bike, and I had no idea who he was. So I used some inappropriate language and ended up in Mr. Moore's office. Next slide, please. And this is the program for the dedication of Taft Junior High School. I don't know if Mrs. Hawk is in there or not. No, it was Mrs. Raymond Bach who was the president. Next slide, please. By the way, we were not given a choice. We were told it's either the Taft Eagles or not. What they didn't tell us was that William Howard Taft's spirit animal was the possum. Now, as you can see on the left there, there's a little political commentary going on because Teddy Roosevelt got so much mileage out of the teddy bear that Taft had to have his own spirit animal, and that's the possum, and there he is as Possum Billy. William Howard Taft was the first, installed the first bathtub in the White House, and he was the first president to be stuck in the bathtub at the White House. He had bottom problems. Next slide, please. Okay, what do we mean by Serra Mesa 92123? I'm inclusive. I want everybody to be part of Serra Mesa 923. That means Mission Village, Princess Homes, Kearney Mesa Industrial Park, Spectrum, Birdseye, Evans Hill, Stonecrest. I'm including Civitas because that is part of the Taft service area, even though it's 92108. My colleagues over at the We're for Mission Village, not Serra Mesa site, want to keep Mission Village as a separate entity, which I understand. I live in San Carlos. My zip code is the same as Grantville and Del Cerro, which have no resemblance demographically to where I live. Next slide, please. So who can join this page? Facebook users, residents of Serra Mesa, anyone who can articulate a connection to Serra Mesa. And I say that because a lot of people will say things like nothing at all, or they'll say yes. In the course of my research, I found out that among our membership, there are 6,570 members from the United States, 94 from Pakistan, 80 from Vietnam, 58 from Nigeria, 34 from Bangladesh, 33 from Indonesia, 25 from Mexico, 12 from the Philippines, 11 from India, 9 from Japan, and I could go on. But I have this current. Next slide, please. By the way, I was also president for the dedication of Memorial Baptist Church. You know, it's there at the corner of Murray Ridge Road. It was named after Greta Faye Williams, who was the wife of the minister. Judy is giving me the high sign, and I am going to quit right here. Right now.
Jeff has a website, is it called a website on Facebook?
Facebook page.
And it's just called 92123?
It's called Serra Mesa 92123. If we could go back to the original slide, I'll show you what that looks like again. All the way back. There it is. That's what it looks like.
Anyone that has any affiliation to Serra Mesa lives here or interested in it, he's just trying to keep it so that people don't use it just to post their, furniture, they want to get rid of that kind of thing. But it's another avenue of communication to all of us. At our block party that we had this summer, we had Luke there, and he's always happy to talk and listen to interesting concerns. We can work together, we can pass on things to the group and the council. So I just thought his website his Facebook page is good to know for everybody. And we couldn't leave no pictures in the basement, so we thought you might enjoy them. And his knowledge of history, and his data can just a life. Thank you, good job.
Anybody have any questions for Jeff?
Jeff, is that your phone up there?
Oh, you're.
Oh.
Don't you have any music you want to play?
Outro music.
The Darth Vader theme is appropriate. Or Jaws.
All right. So that wraps it up for tonight. I appreciate everybody coming. We've got some important dates coming up. So next Wednesday, February 5th, Stonecrest, Laurel Campio's Town Hall. Hopefully everybody can make that one. And then our next meeting here is Tuesday, 25th, 6:30, same time, same place. Please bring all your friends. If anybody has any questions they thought of after the meeting, please feel free to email me. My email is right there on the agenda. I promise I'll get back to you. If I don't know the answer, I'll get it for you. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.